Buongiorno a tutti. Here we are again in my little kitchen in Lecce in the south of Italy. My name's Francesco and today I'm going to make a light lunch using one of these, which is called a frisa. And as you can see, this is a bread roll. These are traditional in the south of Italy, down here in the Salento. These are baked, and when they're half baked, they are cut in half using a thread, which gives them this rough surface, and then the two halves are then baked until they're bone dry. That makes them easy to store for months, literally, they won't go off. And what you do in the summer months when it's really hot and you want something light and refreshing to eat, you rehydrate them in water and you put a topping on them similar to the way you would for a bruschetta. So chopped cherry tomatoes, maybe with a bit of rucola, some good oil, and you're already happy and good to go. Traditionally, they like to tell people that the sailors would take these out to sea and dip them into the seawater so that they're already seasoned, but I'm not sure about that. We're going to add our own salt and we're going to add some other ingredients. I'm going to use a carosello, which is a traditional local grown kind of cucumber. I'm going to use some salad tomatoes, some black olives, anchovy, sun-dried tomatoes, some caper berries, fresh ricotta, and some basil and oregano. That with some good extra virgin olive oil, you've got the healthiest of lunches, no cooking involved, and it's all good stuff. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up and do click on the link and subscribe to the channel. Come back and follow me for more. Let's cook! The first thing we need to do is to soak the freezer in water. They only need to stay in for about a minute or two at the most. Then leave a little bit of water, add the sun-dried tomatoes to soak and let them sit until the water is all absorbed. In the meantime, cut a few slices of cucumber and set them to one side to use as a decoration, and remove the seeds from the rest and cut that into a fine dice like this. We're going to do exactly the same thing with the tomatoes. Cut a few slices, set them to one side and dice up the rest. At this point you may be asking yourself, how can I make something similar because I can't get freezer where I live? Well, you could take a good wholemeal bread and leave it out for a couple of days to go stale, or try to dry it out in the oven at a low temperature and then soak it for a much shorter amount of time, or just sprinkle it with water. As you can see, I've taken the softened sun-dried tomatoes and chopped them up finely. Now what we're going to do is to crumble up the freezer and add our other ingredients to it. The consistency needs to be such that you still have a nice dry crumb, as you can see, just slightly moist. Add the cucumber, the tomatoes, the sun-dried tomatoes, and then we're going to add some seasoning. Plenty of dried oregano, a sprinkle of salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and then we're going to add a splash of white wine vinegar and some good extra virgin olive oil. Once we've added all of those ingredients, we're going to stir everything together and then let it sit for a good half hour till all of the flavors infuse together. This will also give the tomatoes and cucumber time to give off their juices, which will in turn be soaked up by the dried bread. Add as much tomato and cucumber as you prefer, but it should be about a half and half mix, like this. Once it's sat for a half hour or so and has soaked up plenty of flavour, you can press it into shape. Of course, this step is not necessary, but it is very pretty if you serve it up this way. Now that we've built up our tower of freezer, we can add our fresh ricotta on top, spread this out carefully, and then add our other ingredients. What do we have? We have cucumber, the tomatoes, and then we're going to top everything off with some nice black olives, caper berries, anchovies, and a sprinkle of oregano for everything. We'll add a few leaves of basil for decoration, drizzle everything with extra virgin olive oil, and then we're ready to enjoy. And to think you could make something as pretty and delicious as this from basically a couple of old stale bread rolls. Isn't that wonderful? Oh yes, and of course, you do have to knock down the towers before you can eat them. Buon appetito!